Good morning, everybody. Okay, so today is day one of the Detox Challenge, and I'm going to be talking to you about reducing your load of everyday toxins, everyday environmental toxins. So reducing exposure to these environmental toxins really just involves making conscious choices in various aspects of your lifestyle. So it's really impossible to kind of completely eliminate all sources of environmental toxins, but you can take steps to minimize your exposure. So I'm going to give you 5 practical tips that you can hopefully relatively easily implement to reduce this exposure. So the first one is to choose organic foods. So you want to opt for organic produce in order to reduce your exposure to pesticides and herbicides that are really commonly used in conventional farming. Now, the main pushback against buying organic food is that it's more expensive, right? So if that's the case and, it is too expensive for you to buy everything organic, then I would suggest having a look at the Dirty Dozen Clean 15 list that is put out every 2 years, I think. And that can really help guide you to which foods are more important to buy organic than others. So the general rule of thumb is that any fruit or veg that you are where you eat the skin and the skin is very thin. So something like a strawberry, for instance, that is always better organic because you are eating the skin that is touching the non-organic soil with all of the contaminants, and vice versa. So if there's something that has thick skin that you do not eat, so something like an avocado or a banana, these are things that you typically don't really need to buy organic. Okay. And the other thing is that you can often find a local farm that maybe isn't certified organic because of there's a lot of hoops to jump through, and it's quite expensive to maintain that certification, but they may still not use pesticides, and not being certified kind of still reduces the cost for you. So that's another option. So the second tip is to select non-toxic products. And by products, I mean really anything like household, kind of cleaning products, beauty products, gardening products. So what you want to do is use, in terms of cleaning products, is you want to use environmentally friendly and non-toxic products. So we're talking detergents, washing powders, anything like that. That's what we're looking for. You really want to stay away from things like bleach and other really kind of strong smelling products that are very highly toxic. And especially when you're in kind of confined spaces, in the shower cleaning, you're really inhaling a lot of those toxins. So anything that kind of makes you feel dizzy, not a good option. In terms of personal care products, so things like shampoo, soap, cosmetics, you want to buy things with minimal or no synthetic additives. So you want to look for products with very few synthetic chemicals like phthalates, parabens, formaldehyde, and for shampoo and conditioner in particular, there is a product, an ingredient called sodium lauryl sulfate. Very, very common in shampoo and or at least shampoo. I can't remember if it's in conditioner. It's often the first ingredient on the ingredients list. So you really have to search hard to find a good shampoo and conditioner that is non-toxic. In terms of gardening products, you want to focus on natural pesticides and fertilizers and really steer clear of glyphosate-containing products. So just in general, be cautious about exposure to pesticides and herbicides in your outdoor environment. Okay, so tip number 3 is to filter your water. So tap water contains heavy metals, low levels of heavy metals that can really build up in the body. And that, is particularly the case when you have some kind of chronic illness. So, for example, heavy metals with thyroid conditions is really not a great idea, even in these what is typically considered to be kind of safe ranges. They still will build up in the body. Okay, so heavy metals, not great. Also, there can be low levels of pathogenic contaminants like E. coli, cryptosporidium in some water supplies. So, putting a filter at least on your drinking water can be very helpful. You can also filter your shower water or your bath water, especially to filter out the chlorine. If you ever get kind of red stingy eyes in the shower, that's the chlorine in the water, and so you can easily filter that out. And even installing a whole house filter, even though it's a little bit more expensive, that can be a really effective way of getting rid of these contaminants. The fourth tip is to limit your use of plastic. So reducing your use of plastic products, especially those containing harmful chemicals like BPA, is really important. So instead, you want to use things like glass or stainless steel containers for food and beverages. You definitely don't want to drink out of plastic water bottles, but instead use stainless steel, like I said, or glass instead. Sometimes you can get glass water bottles with the a protective layer around the outside so you don't smash it easily. And also what I would say is, if cost is an issue and you're kind of thinking, well, how am I just cannot afford to replace all of my containers with glass containers, you can do it slowly over time. But what I would say in the meantime is at least avoid using plastic to reheat food. So if you have leftovers in a plastic container, do not put that container into the microwave, because heat makes the leaching much worse. Okay, so at least just use the plastic for cold foods. That's what's best. And lastly, the fifth tip is to think about what kind of cookware you're using in the kitchen. So choosing cookware that is made from materials that do not leach harmful substances into your food is really important. So again, a stainless steel is a good one, particularly for saucepans. That would be my preference. And then for fry pans, I typically will use cast iron. So cast iron, takes a bit to get used to. It's quite heavy, very sticky when you're frying things. You do need to use quite a bit of oil, but you do get used to it, and the pan also gets better and less sticky over time. Now, Teflon is definitely, you want to avoid Teflon. There's some really kind of awful things that happen to people that use Teflon in the Teflon factory. So anything non-stick I would steer clear of, just to be safe. So they're the tips for day one in reducing your everyday toxin load. Thanks.